when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. You gotta sing when you're winning. Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. You gotta sing when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. Sing, sing when you're winning. Everywhere you go.
Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Sing When You're Winning, a Fantasy Football League oddity podcast featuring distant cousins of podcast royalty and a very special guest this week who we will reveal very shortly. But if you're watching on YouTube, I think you'll guess it already. But waiting in line for the podcast throne this week, it's myself, Jamie. We've got Steve as usual. We've got Jersey, Chris and Lee. Now, everyone to introduce themselves this week, the name of their team, and we can go for one of two. We can either go, it's the Grand National this weekend, so if anyone's interested in football, they could name their top tip for the winner. Or, as we've just had April the 1st, what's your favourite April Fool's gag? Any memorable April Fool's gags? Anyone want to start on either of those?
I had Grand National on my Jamie Bingo card, so
I don't like to disappoint.
I thought it'd be, what's your favourite, the Grand National or the National Express?
Not quite this week, sadly. But now you've asked, which would it be? And no, move on.
Grand National.
Grand National. Cool. But yes, favorite April Fool that you've ever done or seen done.
Well, we had one that we were going to build a bridge over to France and then Guernsey. So it seems to come up every year, but obviously it's not happening. Yeah, quite like that one.
Did you get excited when you first saw that, Chris?
Well, to France, yeah. So because it's yeah.
You'd love it.
Live there. If you live there, it'd be cheaper and it's better weather. So.
Fair enough. And better Wi-Fi, probably.
Probably,
Maybe, yeah.
Based on what normally happens this week. Anyone else, April Fools wise?
Spaghetti on trees, like spaghetti bean. I always remember that from like the 70s. I don't know if it was That's Life or something like really ridiculous and old, but like they had these trees with all this spaghetti on and people going and picking it like it was fruit. I always remember that. That just always sticks with me.
Yeah. So there's no one particularly plays April Fool pranks on here?
I don't think so. I don't. It's all like the social. There's been loads of social media ones recently, like more than like the previous years for some reason. Like football clubs saying this, that, and the other, and but some football clubs are a joke anyway.
Well, indeed. I once rang one of my mates' girlfriends at the time, and because he said, "Oh, she'll fall for something in seconds," and I rang her and said I was from T-Mobile that she was on, and I said, "You'll win You've been selected to win £1,000. All you have to say anything in less than 15 words. I love T-Mobile because." And I was on the phone with her for 15 minutes. And she kept saying, "Oh, I'm rubbish at these things. I can't think of anything." I said, "Just say anything." "No, don't help me or I won't win the money." And at the end, she said, "I'm really sorry." She said, I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Someone else have to have the £1,000. And I hung the phone up and he was pissing himself laughing. And he was like, "Yeah, she's daft as a brush." There you go. That was the weird.
Was he playing the joke on you?
Well, maybe, but he was killing himself laughing. But yeah, honestly, if it had been real, she'd have given up £1,000 because she just felt stressed. She couldn't do it. That'd be pretty random. Anyway, Steve, have you got anything to add, or should we move swiftly on?
No, move on. It's all a lot of nonsense.
Let's introduce our guest, and he might have some April Fool gag up his sleeve. You never know. But this week's special guest describes himself on X as a singer-songwriter in Shed 7. He's also recently claimed his hat trick of #1 albums and is a pretty canny DJ and presenter too. So let's give a very warm Sing When You're Winning podcast welcome to our special guest, Mr. Rick Witter. Hello.
Well, fellas, you all right?
We're good.
All good.
Yes, thank you.
So, a few years ago, we put a post out on April the 1st saying that we were going to do a one-off gig at the Royal Albert Hall, and we were going to be called Shed Zeppelin, and we were going to do songs of Led Zeppelin in the style of Shed 7, and then we were going to come back out and reverse that and do it the other way around. And funnily enough, a lot of people got very excited.
Yeah. Were the T-shirts at the time as well around?
Yeah, I think there are T-shirts
Yeah.
for that. Are there?
I think we actually made T-shirts out of it because it was such a good idea that we were never going to do. We thought, how can we actually make something out of this? So T-shirts came instead. That was the best of a bad job.
Were there any songs come to mind though? Did you think if I was to do this, we'd have done X? Is there any Zeppelin song that you think you could have a good go at?
Well, to be fair, Robert Plant, I mean, he's certainly got a voice, hasn't he? So I think I would have shredded it after 3 or 4 songs doing their really big rocky ones. So maybe some off Led Zeppelin 3, something a bit more chilled would have been good. But I think it was, Jamie, it was a joke. It wasn't actually going to happen.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking about it. This poor girl that you phoned up saying, just say something to me and you can get £1,000. What would have happened if she was really good and said something dead good about T-Mobile in less than 15 words? You would have had to have said to her, well, you're not having the money because there is no money.
I'd have got my mate to ring her about 10 minutes later and gone, what date is it? That was the plan. That was the hilarious plan.
That was just...
Oh, lass.
Are they still together?
No.
Oh, well, there you go.
Go figure.
Down
Well, there you go, causing divorces.
Yeah, he split up not long after, I think it's fair to say. But anyway, there we go. Should we have a look at your FPL stats, Rick? Thanks to Statman.
No.
I think we should. I think we
No.
should.
Can I just say, before we go any further, the only reason I'm doing this is a certain Mr. Dunn, who I'm sharing a screen with here.
Yeah.
I like football. I really love following it. I've got no memory, so I can't go back and remember stuff from the past or even have as much of an arseness about looking at who's fit, who's playing. Apart from, funnily enough, this season. So when I first started doing this years ago, I was always either bottom or in what would have been a relegation position.
Yeah.
And then when the relegation positions came in and there's more leagues added, I've somehow just managed to avoid being sent down.
Yeah.
This season, I've actually tried a little bit harder for the first time and taken a little bit more on board. And I find myself in quite a nice position in a minute. And there's a certain person on here who's below me as we speak. Things might change, and I know he's smiling.
No, I don't think they will.
The amount of piss taking I've had over the years. But I'm in quite a nice position at the minute. But yes, go on then. Tell me my stats that are
You see,
awful.
confusing piss taking with encouragement, Rick.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
I've misread that.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
misread it.
Steve's special kind of encouragement to each of us. He just appears in your WhatsApp.
Poking a bear.
There's none. But this is your 11th FPL and Sing When You're Winning season.
Is it? Wow.
And yeah, I think you've told the story quite well. It's a notable improvement in the last few seasons since relegation was
I
introduced.
feel like I'm back at school.
Yeah, it's like it's a report, isn't it? His highest league finish, or your highest league finish, was in 22-23 when you finished 15th. You finished in the bottom 3 pre-relegation in 5 seasons, finishing bottom twice, but it didn't matter back then.
This is what I'm trying to say to you. I'm defending myself
Exactly.
before you start hammering into me, which you are.
No, this is
How
fine.
long
It's
does this
not
show go on for?
about an hour.
It could be longer.
Yeah, you're currently 16th though, and only 12 points off the top. So this could be your highest finish ever.
Well, it would be fantastic. It would be an achievement, but you know, I've still got my wild card, which I've got in my back pocket, which could help in the next couple of games. See, this is how much I'm taking it seriously now, because I'm even going online and listening to experts on what you should be doing. So maybe it's proving the correct decision.
Yeah. Have you played your Assman yet?
Which one?
Assman. Have you played your Assman?
Yes, I have. I did that about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So how long does that last? 'Cause it
3
seems to last-
games. So that'll
3
go
games,
now.
right.
Yeah, 3 game weeks. Yeah.
So
So
I had I can't remember who I had. That's what I mean about my memory being so bad. I had a bloke who was managing a team.
I think I did as well. I picked the same one.
Same bloke. I think a few people did. But the last stat, Rick, you might like to be reminded about is you missed the 2017-18 season because you went to do your team just after the deadline, despite 2 months of reminders.
Well, this is the whole point about Mr. Dunn, because without Mr. Dunn, we wouldn't be anywhere, would we? He's such an arranger, you know. So apologies for that season, Steve. But
Well, you're the one who missed out, Rick.
Did I? Who won that season?
I have no idea.
It was an exciting one. Well, this particular season is quite exciting because there's not much in it at all, is there, apart from poor John?
It's very close, very close.
Yeah. And I'm playing poor John this week.
And the key bit about Jamie's stats I forgot to add was he won the Portions
I
Cauldron
was
Cup
thinking
last
it was
year.
the Portion Cauldron. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jamie. I'd forgotten, but you've got all the stats in front of you, so thanks for leaving that till the end.
And the manager of the month as well.
Yeah, exactly. You just
that as well.
laden with gifts from the Portions Cauldron. So
Yes, it was a nice bit of rum that was. I enjoyed that.
Good stuff. Although we have noticed, obviously, this season the Portions Cauldron Cup winner gets a cup.
Did you say portion or potion, or is that just where
I
you're
said
from?
Portion Cauldron.
Is that your kind of northeast language?
Portion Cauldron.
I want a portion of a potion.
Why? That's it.
Don't encourage him.
Yes. No. Let's move swiftly on, as I like to say. So we're going to have a chat about Man U in a bit. Rick, you'll be pleased to know.
Great.
We'll have a few more questions for you, and I think there might be some listener questions as well, especially for you this week. So we'll come on to that in a bit. But first of all, let's go to this. Obviously, this Friday morning, this sunny Friday morning, as we're recording this, we're mid-game week, so there's actual matches on this Wednesday night, Friday morning. But let's have a look at some of the fixtures for the weekend. Steve, are there some big fixtures in the league?
Yeah. Well, obviously now we're at the. Especially after the game week 30 is finished, we're definitely in the business end of the season, the running, as the Premier League are calling it now. So in the Premier League there's 6 pointers at the top for Rich versus you, Chris. Can you hear us over there in Jersey?
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to that game. Yeah.
Adam Devlin's playing Tom Bird, Mark Summerton is playing Eds Chesters, and Alistair Bruce Ball is playing Tom Roberts. So they're all in with a chance of winning the league this season. At the bottom, Michelle and Dan are both meeting. They're in the bottom three, or they are currently, but they might win this week, so we never know. Championship, where you are, Jamie and Lee, and now probably will be next season. The top there's a game for Phil Pinder versus Tom Gregory. Jim Daly's playing Andrew Clancy. Carl Sewell is playing Tim Ward. They're all at the top. And at the bottom, where they're all struggling, Jonas, who's pushing towards relegation at a rapid rate, is playing Dave Atkins, and Ross Millard is playing Graham Swan. League One, Anton Witter, you'll be aware of, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing Rich Pipes, who you'll also be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
They're both in with promotion chances there. Andy Cousins is playing Alex Renton up there, and in the relegation battles, there's Nigel Clark playing Craig Wilson, Frankie Francis is playing Phil Quaw, and Paul Spence is playing Tim Bresnan. In the Conference League, at the top end there's Neil Robertson is playing Sophie Ridge, Grace Maloney is playing Alfie Witter, and Natalie Pike is playing Joe Singleton. So all of those will be important games also, because at the end of this weekend's coming matches, the cup will start. So where you are finishing in after next week is going to determine whether you play a preliminary match in the cup.
Exciting stuff.
And that concludes the highlights of this week.
Good stuff. Right, let's look at the real football then this weekend. Let's pick 3 games like we normally do, and we'll see how our predictions go. So on Saturday, the 12:30 kickoff Saturday, TNT Sports, it's Everton Arsenal. Anyone picked Everton Arsenal? How about you, Rick? What do you think?
Well, I can't see it being anything other than Arsenal, really. Obviously, they've got a little bit more to fight for. They won last night, didn't they? Or they won the other night, to speak. Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I was toying with the idea of bringing Saka in for the beginning of the game week we're currently in. Kind of wish I had now, because he came on and scored within 4 minutes, didn't he?
He got 8 points, yeah.
But yes, I would say pretty certain. Are they at home, Arsenal, did you say?
No way.
Oh, they're away.
Yeah, it's
No,
Everton at home.
Yeah. I'd still go for an away win then.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a draw. I just fancy Everton just picking up their game against Arsenal, and
I think 2-2.
Arsenal are a bit patchy at the moment. And just I think especially at home.
I think maybe a draw. Yeah.
I'm going Everton. I'll put my hat on Everton this time. I think with the injuries last night to Timber and Gabriel, I think it's gonna. They've also got like the Madrid game, sort of like it the week after, but might they have their eye on that? I don't know. So
they're not going to win the league, are they? So they probably should have their eye on that.
Yeah, so I'll go Everton, I think.
Oh, we've got a nice split then. We'll find out who's right.
I'm usually wrong anyway. So
can I just say I've done a few of these score predictions for the whole Premier League games a few times over the years for papers, and I've always got it badly wrong. So well done, guys.
Yeah. Get a coupon on at the weekend for opposites, do whatever, along with the Grand National prediction as well this Saturday. So Sunday, though, the huge game on Super Sunday is Man City. So yes, Rick, what do you think about your beloved Man U playing Man City?
Why are you asking me? I mean, it's going to be Man City, and it's going to be an awful watch. The problem I have at the minute with Man United is you just don't know what you're going to get, or increasingly frustratingly, they seem to be getting worse than better. But certainly over the first part of this season, you just didn't know what team's going to turn up. Yeah. So they could be playing really well or just absolutely diabolical. Yeah. You know, I mean, I watched them against Forest, and as well as they were passing it about, there was no end product, and obviously that was a bit of a wonder goal from Forest, but. It's just a massive worry. I think we need to just get this season out of the way and move on. But to answer your question, City, even though I hate to say that.
Okay. Anyone fancy? I mean, you get weird results sometimes, don't you?
I think Man United are always quite good against City, aren't
they? They raise the game, and at home as well. I've got a weird feeling. I don't think Man U will win, but I have a weird feeling that they'll make it hard.
Yeah. But Man U are really bad this year, out there. So you'd like to think Man City would win.
Yeah, I always say everyone's going to beat Man United every week, but this occasion, I'm going to go against the grain. I actually think Man United will come out and they'll, because as you said before, they do always put performances against City, and City's still on kind of head tenderhooks, aren't they? So, and Haaland's not playing, so it depends tonight. But I don't know. I think Man United might win this one.
Yeah. He's only saying that because Rick's on, and Rick's a Manchester United fan.
Well, to be fair, Man City have been pretty diabolical themselves over the past few games, haven't they? So, I mean, who knows? Let's say a draw. Let's just say a draw.
I'm going to go United. I think United will do it. I think Maguire looked good up front last night.
Oh, guys, stop it.
There'll be certain people on the WhatsApp group listening, watching this going, they're not normally like that.
No. Well, I've got a team.
For you.
I've got a team full of Man City players, so if my season's anything to go by, Man U are going to win 4-0, and
I reckon Mamouche will
get sent off.
Well, yeah. And last game of the weekend, Monday night, Leicester against the very excitable Newcastle. They've been getting some abuse for the way I saw on Talk Sport, Jamie O'Hara slagging off Newcastle fans for celebrating the whole celebrations at the weekend, which I thought was rubbish, because why wouldn't Newcastle celebrate?
Why not? Yeah.
It's been about 70 years, hasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, Leicester Newcastle. What do we think?
Leicester are going to get battered.
It's Monday night.
Monday night football. Yeah.
Well, they're all down now, aren't they? With nothing to lose, nothing to play for. Newcastle 3-0.
Yeah, I reckon Newcastle. It'll be party time in the northeast again for that one. But yeah, Rick, do you agree, Newcastle?
Yeah, totally agree with that. And got a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle anyway. And it was actually quite emotional watching that final. You know, it was actually, the closer it got to them doing it, it was actually quite an emotional thing. So, yeah, why on earth shouldn't they parade around their own city.
Agreed.
And show off. I mean, I've yet to walk around York with my 3 number 1 trophies, but it's coming.
You need to.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair.
Key word there was
top
yes.
bus.
Yes.
Open top bus.
Yeah. I'm sure we could arrange for it to happen.
I might get one of those sightseeing buses and just stand at the front of it at the top.
Do it.
It's got to happen.
Or getting your gritter.
Yes, I can
Yes.
get my gritter, yes. Might have to wait till the weather turns again, though. I mean, it'd be a bit daft if it's pure sunshine, wouldn't it?
They use the gritters when it's, because I used to work for a council, that's how I know this. When it's really, really hot and they're scared about the tarmac melting, they use gritters then as well.
Well, you learn something every day, don't
Gritter
you?
might come out in the red hot sunshine.
Amazing gritter fact.
Yes. Yeah.
Tune in next week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you see them all the time in Spain, don't you, Jamie?
Well, honestly, when I worked for Northumberland Council, we had gritters out in the red hot sunshine. Believe it or not. So there we go. Right, let's move on, and we'll ask Rick. We'll ask you a few more questions this time around Manchester United. So why do you support Man U? Quite simply.
I didn't really have a choice. So I was born in Stockport, so yes, quite rightly, I should support Stockport County. But my dad was a red. My granddad was a blue, but I lived with my dad, so it was thrust upon me from a very early age. So archetypal 5-6-year-old with a Man United quilt cover scenario going on. Weirdly, I've got certain photographs of me when I was pre-10 where I'm wearing a Scotland football kit. I don't know why that happened. I must get in touch with my mother and ask her why on earth that was the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, always Man U. We moved away from Manchester when I was about 6. Moved to Torquay for a short time. My brother Anton, who does this, he's actually quite a big Torquay fan, because I think he must have been about 10 when we moved down there, and he got really into them. He used to go to Plainmoor all the time and watch them. And funnily enough, actually, whenever Torquay used to come up to play York, he'd stand in the away end, which I shouldn't really say on this, should I? Sorry, Anton.
There's probably plenty of seats in the away end, though. I went to York City for the first time on Saturday, and there was hardly any Wealdstone fans. But yeah, it's quite good.
Is that because of that bloke who everyone was a bit concerned that he was?
But yeah, York. I predicted a 3-0 win for York on Saturday, and I was right. But
who's the other bloke online? What's his name? The bloke who shouted his name. You know, a motorbike stops and he's in his car and he's shouting out, "Who are you?"
Ronnie Pickering.
Yeah, imagine Ronnie Pickering and the other bloke together. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Who?
Ronnie Pickering.
I have a feeling that could be what Steve's shouting out at the end of a Super we'll move on. What are your highs and lows of supporting Man U then? I mean, there's probably obvious ones, but any particular standout?
Well, this particular season is pretty low, and obviously, if you go to 99, it's a pretty big high. You can't really argue about the 99. But not been to Old Trafford half as much as what I should have done as a fan, and what I still don't. It's just the travel side of things. I mean, it's quite easy to just nip down the A64 for Leeds, isn't it, Steve? But it's a bit more of a chew getting all the way over there from York. But whenever I have been there, it is. Even though you see images of the Old Trafford now, and you're seeing leaks in the roof and everything, but my memories of whenever I've been is you go up those steps and see the pitch, and it is still a massive wow moment. So much history there.
Definitely. You've performed there as well, haven't you? Was that before the rugby?
For the rugby, yeah. But it's still pretty cool. I'm not really a big rugby fan, but to actually perform in the stand was an amazing experience.
I bet. Nice one. Everyone's got the homework to do, right? If you're a fan of the podcast, Rick. So we ask everyone on the panel to do their homework and have some questions lined up for you.
You really are a teacher, aren't you?
Hey, I learned from the best, Rick. Do you know what I mean? So I've got a couple of questions, and then we might have some listener questions as well. I have a feeling we might have this week. But the first question from me: what's the best thing you've ever said to get the crowd going?
One of the biggest cheers I think we ever got was funnily enough, it was in Leeds. It was at the university in Leeds, probably about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
We played 2 nights. They were both sold out. One was a Saturday, one was a Sunday. So obviously the Saturday night was a bit more boisterous. Lots of people in the crowd throwing the pints in the air, which is understandable. Everyone gets excited. So we kind of came off stage on the Saturday night. I think Leeds actually had played at home that day. So it was one of those kind of nights.
Yeah.
So you kind of get it. You understand it. People have got Sunday off. But then we played the same gig the following night on a Sunday, and the crowd was a lot more subdued because it's Sunday and I don't really want to drink as much. I've got to go to work tomorrow. So as much as there was maybe 2,500 people in the room, it was a lot more subdued and a bit more sedate. But about 5 songs in on the Sunday, after no one had thrown anything, I think I was singing a song called Ocean Pie, which is quite a slow song. And I had my eyes shut. And the next thing, I could just feel the sensation of a pint pot hitting me on my head and beer going all over me. So the more I was singing that song, I'm thinking, well, why would anyone do that when no one else is?
Yeah.
So at the end of the song, I asked the crowd who threw that, and somebody put their hand up in the middle of the crowd, which was a bit of a silly thing to do. So I got the security to go and get him and brought him to the front in the pit bit in front of the stage. And I'm kind of asking this person, why did he do that? And he's looking up at me going, I don't know. And I'm thinking, well, nobody else is throwing anything. What made you, what gave you that idea? I don't know. So I just
who's the teacher now?
Go teach these people a lesson.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, you go into a school and throw a pint pot at a teacher and see what reaction you get.
Well, they have security gates and stuff now.
Yeah, you've tried that, right? Already tried. So I asked this chap what he does for a living, and he was saying, well, I work in an office. And I said, well, how would you like it if I came into your office tomorrow and threw a pint over you while you were working? Because obviously I'm doing my job. And he said, I wouldn't like it. So the only way around the situation for me was if I got my own back. So I turned round to the drum riser and picked up the pint I had behind me and threw it all over him, which got the biggest cheer of the whole night. And he didn't get thrown out. He just toddled back off into the crowd to continue watching.
Yeah. I bet you didn't get any more missiles thrown at you, though. Bet there was no more that night.
I don't think there's been one since. And I think that's actually on YouTube. If you put Rick Witter throws pint, I think you can actually see it live. Well, not live. It's not happened since.
We'll have to share that along with this pod. Next question for me is, what's your favourite airport?
Hey, now, cheeky.
I know I'm being very cheeky. Very cheeky. Because I don't think you ever said on air what your favourite.
Did I not? Well, they've all got something good going for them. You can get out and get back in, so they're all quite good, really, aren't they?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to be airportist.
Okay, we'll keep that a secret.
Leeds Bradford's good because it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Manchester's good because it's big and it sells loads of fragrances. But at the end of the day, if you want to get anywhere quick, get on a plane. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Teesside's quite good if you just want to get on a plane quickly. They're quite fast getting you through.
Right. I've never been to Teesside Airport, I don't think.
Jersey's pretty shit. It's always cancellations.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, hold on. I went to Jersey to do a Radio 1 road show in the mid-90s.
Yeah, I was at that. Yeah.
Well, were you?
Yeah.
Right. Was it any good?
It was, yeah. You're very good. Yeah.
What, the particular one we were at?
The one at Parade Park just behind me. Yeah.
So is it a yearly thing there, or is it
not anymore?
We
have a thing called Jersey Live, which is a 10,000 strong festival now.
Right.
So yeah, we've had quite a few. I'm surprised you haven't been invited to play.
Well, fingers crossed at some point.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed coming to Jersey. We only went that one time, and it was ace. I loved it.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get you back.
Well, why don't you have a word with the promoter? See what
I will do indeed.
Get sorted.
We can get this clip to me, then I'll forward it on to him.
Well, you were chatting to the lottery winners about when they were on, weren't you, recently? So,
yeah.
Yeah, Chris is just bagging all the bands for Jersey Live, and then he can be VIP.
Brilliant. You're rated by Chris. Amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Right, let's have some not listener questions. Let's see if any of you lot have done your own work. I know one of you certainly will, but anyone else?
let's just go straight
No,
to
let's
Lee.
just go. Let's just go to Lee. Yeah. I found the teacher Lee's the sort of always as his own.
I am. I'm the bod at the back of the class. So I always have two questions as well. So the one that always kind of comes down to April Fools as well, but Joe Wisby talking about her shed customer service.
Yes.
Did she ever get back to you, first of all? Because obviously the band responded, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. And the other one is how do you feel about the Britpop label retrospectively? Do you think it kind of pigeonholed you as a band back then, or do you think it's just a thing? Because I think you're doing the best music you've done now. I think it's absolutely superb.
Well, thank you. So Shed Lady. So that was pretty cool, wasn't it? I mean, obviously that randomly just came onto our Twitter feed. It was somebody moaning about the fact her shed hadn't been delivered. So she'd obviously got tagged to the wrong people in it. So because of that, it actually made the main newspapers. And then, yes, we invited her to a gig and she came and had a really nice evening. And then she ended up coming to a few more, I think. So she's become a little bit of a celebrity in her own right, Joe, was which is pretty funny. And Britpop, I don't know. I mean, I've said this so many times. When we formed in 1990, just at the kind of point where the Stone Roses, the Happy Mondays, were starting to kind of go the other way. Manchester was kind of coming to its conclusion. And then you get yourself into grunge, and then it was a lot of dance and acid house music. So we genuinely believed, we formed in 1990, and by 1992, beginning of 93, we genuinely believed we were the only indie guitar band doing indie guitar stuff. Yeah. And we're from York, so obviously it's a bit different in York. It's oldie worldy. There wasn't much indie as such around. So we were kind of almost a bit weird the way we had our hair and the way we dressed. But what we didn't realise was there was a band from Liverpool called Cast thinking the same probably, and a band from Hounslow called the Blue Tones probably thinking the same, and Sleeper and so on, and Oasis. So obviously this all coalesced mid-90s and became known as Britpop, and that's a journalist term just to be lazy and to everyone in the same bracket. So yes, we were Britpop, but before Britpop in the press, when we first signed, we were known as Lad Rock. I don't know if you remember Lad Rock. We were new wave of new wave for a short time because that suited the press to pigeonhole us into that kind of league. Obviously, Britpop's brilliant in the sense that it's become such a thing. Luckily, I mean, I feel quite lucky that we were caught up in a time where music actually really still meant something. And like when you think back about what the bands were like in the 60s or glam rock or disco, I can't really envisage a time moving forward where there will be such an exciting musical movement, you know. I mean, I can't really envisage a newsreader at 10 o'clock at night discussing which of those bands might get to number one out of the other one anymore, because the way that we buy music, the way we listen to music, you know, that's why the last few albums we've released, we've really tried to make them albums, a journey. You know, we care about track 8. We're not just going to throw any old rubbish on there, because we want people who perhaps remember those times to enjoy how they used to enjoy their music, you know. So Britpop, it was important for us, but we're not. We're just a British rock band. That's about the size of it. And I think now, your kind words, Lee, thank you for those, but I think what we're doing now has kind of made us relevant and away from that a little bit, if you know what I mean. We're kind of a relevant current band doing what we think is good stuff, you know.
Yeah, brilliant.
Definitely. Great stuff. Steve, what question have you got?
Well, I've got such a full sack of questions.
Again,
another full
sack. Your sack.
I mean, I thought it was full last week. I thought it was full last week, but it's been replenished.
Listen, Steve, don't empty it all on me, will you?
Well, I might have to. Right. Anyway, where should we go? Let me just have a rummage around first. Where are we? There we go. First one is from a Mr. Graham Swan.
Yeah.
Graham says, "Is there any talk of a Sing When You're Winning supergroup being formed because my maracas game is on point and I want in?"
Well, that would be absolutely amazing. Graham Swan is welcome anytime to shake his maracas and mine.
Amazing.
I'm sure that can be arranged somewhere. Next one is from somebody else. It's a bit more like This Is Your Life Tonight rather than a mailbag. So the next one is from your son.
Oh, nice.
Duke Witter.
Right.
I suppose on these podcasts, people often say to you, "What's your favourite song?" And you'll say, "That's like asking me who my favourite child is." So Duke wants to know who his favourite child is.
Probably either Dolphin or Going for Gold, I think.
Is that Duke's nickname?
I love all of my children equally, and he knows that.
Right. But moving on to another one of your children then, who actually asked a nice question. This is from Alfie.
Well, this is the firstborn, so there you go. Go figure.
And Alfie says a couple of questions. Either, who was your favourite player when you were growing up? And what team outside of the UK is your favourite and why? Now, Alfie says he's never really asked you this, so he's interested to know.
Yeah, well, that's weird because he never has, and he's never been interested enough to ask me in the past. He's just wanting his 5 minutes of fame, isn't he? I do remember when Norman Whiteside came on the scene. He was quite exciting, and he was dead young, you know. So I always kind of liked Norman Whiteside in that respect. But there's loads of players that were just good, you know. I mean, I remember liking Ipswich just because they had, was it Paul Mariner? And
yeah,
you know, I went for a little bit of an Ipswich crush and then discovered Ed Sheeran likes them. So that swapped that. And Spurs in the early 80s, was it? I was our dealers, and what was the long-haired bloke who scored that goal in the cup final?
Ricky Villa. Villa.
Yeah, these guys, all pretty cool footballers.
Yeah, I think it was the sticker book generation, wasn't it? You like players from the sticker book, didn't you? Then in those days.
Well, I tell you what, Steve, you could do me a favour, and you could tell both my boys I've still got all of their sticker books in the garage piled up if they want to come and get them.
I'll have them.
Ah, you might have to fight Alfie and Duke for them, but I'll leave that to you guys to sort out.
Right, let's move on. This one you might be familiar with, Rick. It's from Cliff Richard in Barbados. And, he says he misses the old radio show he used to do with that camp chap.
Oh, yes. But do you mean that northeastern camp chap?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Always
the one who
a hat.
likes Teesside Airport.
Yeah. He's got a strange fear of gravy and buttons.
Yeah, and he's got a weird tongue, hasn't he?
Has he?
What were you talking about that?
Oh, we've not discussed this before. This is new.
Did you miss this particular show, Steve?
Let's have a look, Jamie.
We were doing a radio show, and I think I must have mentioned to Jamie on air something about a particular food stuff, and he went, "Oh no, I can't eat that." So that intrigued me. So I was asking him why he couldn't eat it, and he said his tongue disagrees with it. Yep. So he's got one of these. How many people in the world, Jamie, or what percentage of people have your tongue?
About 20% of people in the world.
Oh, is it that much? I thought
yeah. But like 2 out of 10 people are super tasters, like my
super taster. That's it. You're a super taster.
Super taster.
So what does that actually mean in real terms?
It means
don't know.
That as a kid, you have loads of taste buds, and then you kind of lose them as you get older. But one of these people as an adult has retained taste buds, so I taste things stronger than any adult. Well, most adults.
It's amazing, isn't it? If you looked at Jamie, you'd never know he kept all his taste buds. Would you?
What a superpower to have!
Exactly. We didn't know this superpower existed. So
it's a blessing and a curse.
You not wear a cape when you have your tea. Put my cape on. I'm gonna have my
No, it's a
dinner.
bib. It's a bib, Lee. If it gets stuck, it turns into a cape.
So gravy's like
There
your
you go.
kryptonite then.
Yeah. Gravy, spices. Like, the hottest I'll go at Nando's is lemon and herb, and that blows my mouth off by the time I got to the end of it.
Wow.
That's if I'm going
Such a super taster, aren't you?
Anyway, Cliff's question went off at a tangent there.
It certainly did. Move on.
So Cliff's got a bit of a dilemma for you, Rick, and he'd like to know: snog, marry, or avoid Una Stubbs, Cilla Black, or Sue Barker?
What, in their heyday or now?
Well, two of them are dead, so probably, yeah.
Can we pass this on to Super Taster?
I think you should imagine that it's late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, all right. Well, so who did you say? Una Stubbs.
Yeah, Cilla Black or Sue Barker.
So I used to love Wurzel Gummidge. So Una Stubbs would have to be the one that I actually have to get physical with.
Well, it's snog, marry, or avoid. You don't have to do anything physical. I mean,
Oh, come on. What type of game is this?
Starting with a kiss.
Aunt Sally was sort of rigid some of the time, wasn't she?
She was in Wurzel Gummidge.
Yes, I mean. So you don't get this on other podcasts.
You don't.
I wouldn't avoid any of them. They're all lovely ladies.
Good.
And tell Cliff I've missed him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's missed you too. Next one is from. This is more of a story, I believe, for you, Rick. Rick, Phil Quar, you'll be very familiar with, and he's also in League One of our league. He said there was an incident in Leicester where a fan asked for a photo, to which Rick agreed. The fan handed Phil his phone, and then what happened then, Rick?
I have no idea. I can't remember. Did they want me to take it?
No, this one is Phil says the fan then turned round, dropped his pants, turned his back to reveal a Shed 7 tattoo on his arse.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest with you. So a fan at the stage door, all nice and polite. Can you take a picture? So of course, so I'm starting to put my arm around this lad, and then he just quickly turned around and dropped his pants. I'm thinking, what are you doing? And he's got a big tattoo on his arse.
Was it your face?
I think it was our logo rather than my face.
Oh.
I just buy a T-shirt, you know.
Yeah, I think you do rightly. I think that's probably the way to go, rather than showing me your arse. Yes, definitely just get the T-shirt, please. However, somebody else actually, I got sent a picture online of someone who was quite proud, and they'd had a tattoo of Shed 7 on their arm, and it was the disco down single sleeve, which is a figure of a person doing a kind of disco move. And it's on the sleeve of the disco down single. And they sent it to me. It's kind of in a silhouette form. And they sent it to me saying, look, Rick, what I've had done. And I think this chap thought that it was me that he'd had tattooed on him, but it's actually Paul Banks. I didn't have the heart to tell him, so he's probably still walking around now thinking that it's there you go. It's life, isn't it?
Good stuff.
Phil's got another one, but it might be a bit naughty, so I'll let you go about it. It says you could ask him about Graham Lambert from the Inspiral Carpet salad.
Ah, right then. So, Inspiral supported us in about 2015. We've known the Inspirals for an awful long time. Weirdly, we kind of share a same kind of trajectory, really, over the years. I'm quite close to Clint. He's a lovely man. They were supporting us, part of 10, 15-day tour. Towards the end, tour fatigue sets in and you start doing silly things. I remember being in Birmingham with sound check, so we're just hanging around for a couple of hours before the show starts. And then Clint comes into our dressing room and says, Rick, come in here, Graham's got something to show you. So I walk into the Inspiral's dressing room, and there's quite a few people in there. I think their road crew were in there with them, and they're all kind of giggling. And Graham, the guitarist, is sat at the other end of the room with a paper plate with loads of salad on it. And he's going, come and look at my salad, it's ace. So I'm quite short-sighted. So I walk over to Graham's, where he sat with his paper plate with his salad on it. and he's going, look at it. So I'm quite short-sighted, so I'm kind of bending quite close to it to see what on earth is going on. And he'd done that classic, cut a little hole out in the middle and pop something through.
Lovely.
And when I discovered that, I actually thought it was a walnut salad. And it's every time I see Graham now, I see a picture of him advertising that they're going out on tour. I think of walnuts. You know, them walnut whips.
Yeah.
Without whip or without the stem, just the walnut that you place on the top. That's it.
Lovely. Right, moving on to the next family member. This time it's from
Not Graham's family member.
We should move away from members, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Swiftly on.
This one is from your wife, Claire.
Oh.
Claire
didn't
didn't
tell
want
me
to
this.
drop you in it too much, but she said you could ask him about going to Scotland on the tour bus.
Oh God. It could mean so many different occasions. And I might get this story wrong, but we went all the way up to Ullapool, which is an awful long way. So we had to set off hours before even the next day. We needed to be there. So I ended up drinking far too much wine and woke up thinking that we'd done the gig and we'd actually got home again. I'd wiped out a full day and a half. I think that's right. I think there's even more to it. I think it happened twice. But anyway, yes, what Claire's trying to say is I got far too drunk and thought the whole weekend had gone.
And how did the gig go?
Well, I do remember having a game of Scrabble before we played and won it, so I can't have been that bad.
Was it against me?
Yes, because we do like to do that, don't we, Steve?
Probably.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That's probably more fun than fantasy football in the sense that I quite like to beat you at Words with Friends, which is good.
Well, you're having a clean sweep this year, aren't you? Next question is from Steve Wybrandt, who's in League One. You also know him, Rick.
I do.
He says, do you still want your outdoor light doing at the back of the house?
Yes, I do. That's been ages.
Well, this Friday morning looks like you need it, Rick.
Well, Steve says he'll pop round any time and do it free of charge.
Amazing, Steve. I'll tell you what, I'll make you a nice brew or two or three. But yeah, what a great job he did in my kitchen. As did you, Steve.
It does make a lovely cup of tea, Rick, I can confirm.
Well, thanks very much.
I do drink a lot of cups of tea at people's houses, and Rick's is right up there.
Right. To be fair, Steve, you were fitting my kitchen in 2023, weren't you?
Yeah.
And while you're downstairs creating havoc, I'm upstairs and I managed to write most of A Matter of Time album while you were downstairs. Every 2 minutes, I'm just trying to think out, right, I've got this idea in ecstasy. Oh, yeah, right, these lyrics sound quite good. Rick, put the kettle on. I mean, you could have scuppered that album.
Well, actually, I think me and Steve, we think we were kind of inspirational behind that album because he used to come down every morning and go, I just woke up in the middle of the night, I thought it was a brilliant melody. And we were like, we'd play us a little bit of it or sing us a lyric or something.
Yeah. Well, you did kind of keep telling me, didn't you? Can you write a song about fitting kitchens? And
we didn't get any credit on the album, though, I don't think.
Yeah, I think when times get a little bit hard, I can start doing jingles for kitchens.
You could do a jingle for a podcast if you like.
You could.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Nigel Clark has done an amazing one, but we need jingles for other features.
Yeah,
an outro. I think we're missing an outro. I think that would be quite good.
Okay, right. Well, I'll try and think of something around the theme of walnuts for you.
Definitely. And any more?
Just two more,
Steve.
And only one more family member to go. This one's not from a family member, but it's from a national treasure.
Oh.
It's from Mr. Chesney Hawkes.
Oh.
Who's rumoured to be going into the Big Brother house next week.
So we've heard. Yeah.
Anyway, he says, hi, Rick. Have you pre-ordered my new album, Living Arrows, yet? If not, what are you waiting for? It's out on Friday. Love, Chesney.
Yeah.
Right, so I have, and I would have thought Chesney would have known that I had, because it was his manager who was telling me to pre-order it. So he needs to speak to his manager more. But I have, and it's really good. And I'm digging Chesney. I'm digging him at the minute. I saw him on Sunday brunch last week, and he came across really well on that. And you know, he's one of these. He's a national treasure, isn't he? As you said,
He is.
it's Chesney. I mean, what more can you say?
He played Farsley last night.
He played where, mate?
Farsley last night, the Old Woolen, Thursday night.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Right, nice. Well, listen, I wish him all the best, and I hope his album goes as well as he wants it to.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Lovely. And finally, then, one more question, and it comes from your brother, Anton. He says, Rick's often said to me that Shed 7 fans have him to thank for the very existence of Shed 7, as he went down the indie guitar route as a rebellion against me trying to get him into electric music. My question is, what does indie guitar music have that electronic music doesn't?
Well, to be fair, I'm talking when I was about 11 and he was 15. So he was into all your Depeche Modes and your Kraftwerk and your Einstein Neubauten and you know, he was into all of that, just pure keyboard. And at the time, because he was my 4 years older brother than me, I didn't want to like what he liked. So yes, he's right. He pushed me into listening to guitar bands, which started a process in my life that I'm thankful for. So he is right. But now, as a grown-up man, I totally appreciate all of that. I just still have images of my brother with his long, straight back in his bedroom with his keyboard, pretending to be Martin Gore. And now we all should do that. He was ahead of his time as well, my brother.
Great stuff.
And that's it. The bag is empty.
Yeah, but Jersey Chris hasn't had his homework question. So
No.
The last word on questions
My-
for me.
My mate has texted me and he's going to Glastonbury with a lot of my other friends and he would like to know, are you playing?
Well, Chris, that is a loaded question. So they have announced the first wave of acts, haven't they?
Yes.
And we're not on that, but I wouldn't particularly say that that's it, but I can't say that it's not.
So it's a maybe.
Neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to get myself in trouble and then not play it because I've said stuff I shouldn't say. I don't know if that's making any sense to you.
Yeah.
Put it this way: if we were to do it this summer, it'll be the first time in 30 years since playing Glastonbury, because the last time we played it was '95 when it was that famous Oasis and Robbie. You remember when Robbie blacked one of his front teeth out because he was off his head. So if we do get to do it, it'll be like a 30th anniversary, and I'd love that. I mean, what I might do is, all I can say to you is, on that particular weekend, I'll be carrying 30 candles around in my pocket. That's all I can say.
Lit. Are they going to be lit candles?
Oh, what, in my pocket?
Yeah.
You like that, wouldn't you, Steve?
Sounds like a terrible hazard.
They were on Graham Lambert's cake. And then I had to blow them out. Is this a family?
I think it's fair to say we'll put an E on this one.
Yeah. Well, it's a good job Rick ain't got his Alan Partridge shots on that angle anyway.
Yeah, it's getting very dark. I think we all need some candles this Friday
It's
morning.
gone dark now.
So yeah, it's all good stuff. Cool. Well, thank you for all of those. Lots of questions, Rick, to get through this week. So thanks for bearing with us on that one. More questions for you now, though. In Sing When You're Winning Superfan, and I know how much you like a quiz from Pointless, from Celebrity Mastermind, all of that good stuff. What's your footballing knowledge like?
Terrible. As I said at the beginning of this, it's terrible.
Yes.
So let's just get it over with, because
Okay.
I'm not going to do very well at all.
Well, we use ChatGPT, so some of the questions are nonsense, but we'll ask you whatever it throws up, and we'll see how many questions you can get correct in 90 seconds. So Steve will be timing 90 seconds. Who wants to do the fingers in the air scoring this week? Lee, do you want to do it so you can get your? Have we got any? Yes, there we go. We get the special.
Just
effect.
do that. That's all you need to do.
Well, all I'll say is, Rick,
I'm not suggesting you ride a bike.
On cracking walnuts.
Yeah.
If you were to score 0, you'd be in good company. I think it's fair to say. So
All right.
do not
Okay. Well,
fear.
that's pressure right off then.
National Treasure Company.
National Treasure
Oh,
Company.
really?
That's all we'll say. That's all we'll say.
It almost makes me want to get 0 so I can join that national treasure.
Yes. Yeah.
No, because he's the one and only, so you can't join him.
Hey.
You have to get 1.
Yeah. If you get 1, you'll join Ed's from the Blue Tones. He's on 1.
All right.
And there's quite a few people on 2. But if you want to hit the top, you'll need 7 or more.
Well, that just isn't happening. So let's just crack on.
Well, let's see. So yeah, I'll start in a second. When the time runs out, Steve will shout something out, which will signal the end of the 90 seconds. And if it, just like Mastermind, if I've started a question, I will finish it too. So there we go. Are you ready? And we'll make a start.
No, but go on.
Go on. Which team won the 1990 FA Cup?
I have no idea. Man U. Man U.
Yes.
Yeah. Which club was the first to wear a sponsor's logo on their shirt in the UK?
Liverpool.
Newcastle United. Which player has the most Premier League appearances?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Alan Shearer. I don't know. No idea.
Ryan Giggs. What year did Tottenham Hotspur last win the League Cup?
95.
2008. Who scored the most goals in a single Premier League season? It was 2017 to 2018.
Harry Kane.
Mo Salah, apparently. Who won the Premier League Player of the Season in 2020?
Harry Kane.
Kevin De Bruyne. Who was the England manager during the 2010 World Cup?
Oh God. Was it not Hodgson? Was it?
No. Italian.
Oh yeah, him. Fabio Capello.
Yeah. Yes. Who was the first player to reach 100 Premier League goals for Liverpool?
Ronnie Pickering.
It wasn't Ronnie Pickering. It wasn't Ronnie Pickering.
Was it really him who did that?
Yeah. Who was the first player to reach 100 Premier League goals for Liverpool? So you're thinking in early mid-90s.
Yeah, Gerrard.
Fowler?
Gerrard.
Robbie Fowler.
Fowler. Right. Okay.
So there we go. So what was the final score, Lee?
1, wasn't it?
No,
2.
2.
2.
There we go.
Was that Premier League goal scorer? Is that Haaland, wasn't it?
I mean,
Yeah, I
this
did
is
think it was Salah.
ChatGPT, it might be wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Haaland over 2 years ago, and he got like
All right.
35 or something, didn't he?
Because I said 2017 to 18, I guess we can get away with that one. But you got
No,
2.
no.
You're in very good company.
I thought Liverpool were the first sponsors as well.
So,
Yeah.
but
I
we've
remember
got
my dad brought a football home from Liverpool in the mid-80s with all your Dalglish, your Souness, all these autographs on it. I used to kick it around the house and we just scuffed all the autographs off it. Terrible, really, isn't it? A lot of money that now.
yeah. But in the last 3 weeks, everyone's had 2. So Michelle Gale, Big Lee, yourself, all getting 2. Must be getting harder in the last couple of weeks.
Respectable, isn't it,
It
too?
is respectable. It is respectable. Let's have a quick update on Bletchley Scott then. How do we think they got on at the weekend? They played MK Wanderers, who on the opening day of the season they lost 6-1 to MK Wanderers. How do we think they got on this weekend?
I'm gonna hope they won. I'm gonna full on Bletchley.
You could hope they won. But no, to be fair, they've improved from 6-1. They drew 3-3.
Oh, brilliant.
That's a good result. Good result.
It is a good result. And they've got the week off. They've got another international break. They're not back till a week on Saturday. I think there's only 3 games left in the season now. But yeah, we'll say, come on, Bletchley. Come on, Bletchley, for that. But yeah, Rick, are you aware of, have you got your Bletchley Scott t-shirt, Rick?
I've not got the shirt, but I'm aware of it. I read everything, Jamie.
Good stuff.
He was a sponsor, wasn't he? Rick sponsored it.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I am a sponsor, yes. And good luck to the guys and the gals.
Yes, good stuff. 3 games to go. We'll see where they end up at the end of the season. But we're going to end this week's podcast because I definitely look like I haven't paid my electric bill this Friday morning. I'm going to have to reach over and put a light on. But yes, shooting stars in their eyes. Are you familiar with this concept, Rick?
No. I'm liking that, though, next to me. That's a cute thing. Shooting stars. Yeah, I know shooting stars.
But no, did you read Shoot magazine back in the 80s? Or were you too old for that?
Not massively.
Shoot magazine,
yeah.
Match magazine.
Yeah.
Not massively. Well, anyway, back in the day, they used to player profiles and ask ridiculously random questions to famous footballers of the time. But thanks to Frankie, he came up with a different concept for this. And then Big Lee Nicholson last weekend took it even higher. So can you pretend to be a Manchester United legend from the late 80s, early 90s? And answer the questions as if you were that person. And if you wanted to, you might not want to, you could do an impression of them as well. Are you up for that?
Not really, but go on.
I can hear the excitement.
I don't think I'll be doing any impressions. You do a good impression of this person, Jamie. So you could do it on my behalf if you wanted, if I told you the answers.
My impressions, I am rubbish at impressions, I think it's fair to say. That might surprise you. Probably not. Cool. But yeah, so who are you going to be?
Brian Robson.
Brian Robson. Good one. So, Brian, so tonight, Matthew, Rick Witter is going to be Brian Robson in Shooting Stars in Their Eyes. Again, you don't get this on any other podcast. The first question, Brian, what would you do if you could be invisible for a day?
Well, I can't do it.
We nearly got one.
No, I tried. I really tried. I don't know what I'd do. I'd go and be an invisible man scoring goals. No idea. How does this game work? What am I supposed to be doing here?
You could just imagine you could do it. You could make it really funny, or you could just play it straight, like it seems like you're doing right now.
I want it to be over.
Just answer quick fire, then.
Quick, ask me the next one.
Next question. So, Brian, what if anything frightens you?
The dark and football.
What do you like about yourself, Brian? This is a bit.
My tracky bottoms.
Brian, do you have any hobbies?
I love football, and I've got one of them super tasty tongues.
Amazing. Brian, have you ever been taken from someone else?
No.
No, fair enough. And what's your favorite cartoon character back in the late 80s, early 90s, Brian?
Penelope Pitstop. I liked her off that cartoon.
Yeah, good choice, solid choice. And the question we ask everyone: what was your first car, Brian, and how much did it cost?
It was. I don't know anything about cars. I don't even really know the car I'm driving. So if you're trying to get me to name a car from the 80s, Cortina, brown Cortina. That's what my dad would have.
Nice.
Brown Cortina.
Brown Cortina.
How much did it cost?
Whoa, wait a minute. Away, man. You can't ask a man that, man.
It's a 20 quid. Cool. You'll be pleased to know, Rick, that's over.
Thank God for that.
I can tell you enjoyed that so much. You so enjoyed it. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us this dark Friday morning now. But yeah, thanks to you, Rick. Good luck for the rest of the season. See if you have a late push for the title potentially.
Yeah, thank you. And it's nice to see you, Jamie. It's nice to see you, Stephen. It's nice to meet you two guys, Lee and Chris. Nice to meet you.
Good stuff. Yes, thanks to you've already done that bit for me. I was going to say thanks to the guys, but you've already done all
Done it
of
for
that.
you, mate. We're taking over again, aren't you?
Yeah, we're going. We're gone.
So good. There's football to watch this Friday morning, isn't there? But remember, you can follow us on Twitter at SWYW _FBL. The double underscore is important. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment, ask us an FBL question. We might even discuss it on next week's show, where we'll be joined by another secretive top guest who Rick knows very well. I think it's fair to say. We'll leave that as a hint.
He doesn't because he's moved his date back a bit. So
bugger. Never mind. we won't have him on then. But yes, thanks to all of you for joining this week. Thanks to Rick, and enjoy your footballing week. Oh, hang on! Breaking news this Friday morning. Someone's just tweeted on the WhatsApp chat. Sorry, that Mamouche train is up and running. So I'm guessing he's just scored this Friday morning.
Well, I can also tell you that Southampton are beating Palace and Ipswich are beating Bournemouth.
Ipswich are beating. Wow. Okay, I've got Bournemouth keeper. So
it's all going wrong.
It is all going wrong.
I'm not winning. I'm not winning tonight.
We're off to watch some football, but enjoy your footballing week. Keep on singing. Keep on winning. Goodbye.
See you.
Bye.
Yeah.